Good morning, everyone. I had to start this again. I just got kicked out somehow. No idea why. Let's see if it works this time. We better get going. Something might be going on with my tablet again. I have no idea. It seems like one has very little control over these devices, right? Like somebody's plugging in somewhere. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to get going here straight away. I'm a little late today. Got things to do. I refinished a table downstairs in our living room, and it just looks gorgeous. It just it took a little time, but just looks gorgeous. And then we finished up all the stools, the bar stools. One of them needed a new top, and my brother-in-law asked me, "Hey," first I thought I'll just try to. Yeah, had a little piece broke off on one side, and I thought, I'll just try to salvage that. If I cover that with some fabric and some cushioning, and it should be all right. And I turned it over and I'm going, no. No, I'm not reading. No. Mm-mm. So I went, he was already working in the garage now. And I said, hey, do you think you could make a new top for this? And he said, oh, yeah, no problem. I said, it doesn't have to be today. I said, I'll just work on the bottom part, this, that. But he got right on it. And I believe he invented the perfect stool for people, especially when they have problems with their legs or whatever. It's a little bit on a tilt. The top is just a tiny bit. And funny enough, that the piece of wood that he used has an arrow on it on how to actually sit on it. Natural arrow. And it's a little bigger than the original round part of the seat. Okay, but you sit on it, and if you sit on it in the right way, it's like this perfect. Your posture is good. And your legs are relaxed and feel really good. They're due to the fact that it has that little tilt in it. Your legs are not resting on the rim of the seat. Yeah, I'd say, wow, I think you just invented here something for people getting older. Also, easy to get up. Here's the other thing: it can't tilt backwards due to that, but it can tilt a little forward. So I said, easy for people to get up, right? Yes, like the chair gives you a little. Yeah, okay, all right. Well, anyway, we had a great time with that last night. Just came out just amazing, and he made it. He said, oh, I wanted to make it not just round, but I thought about making it into a 6 point. And he says, I went a little farther, and he made it into a 16 point. It looks great. That's just, as I said, he's such an artist. Not just a great carpenter, but he's an artist carpenter. And again, we have a piece in our home that I know nobody else has. And he may have just invented a stool that's physically, for people. It's one of those just amazing. Wow, yes, a little easier. All right. So let's get going here in the first book of Kings, 14. Oh, next super chapter. What isn't that just one over here? In 12, in 14, there's another big old over title here. So subtitle, not subtitle. What's it called? Overhead. So that would be 4, the 2 kingdoms until Elijah. Continuation of the reign of Jeroboam, 931 to 910. Wow, that's a long time. That's 21 years. I thought. Let's see. Yeah. What was it about those two prophets, men of God? Okay. At the time, at that time, Abijah, Jeroboam's son, oh, not Ahijah. The names sometimes are so similar. At that time, Abijah Jeroboam's son fell sick, and Jeroboam said to his wife, "Come, please disguise yourself so that no one will recognize you as Jeroboam's wife, and go to Shiloh. The prophet Ahijah is there. The man who said I was to be king of this people. Go to him and take 10 loaves and some savory food and a jar of honey. He will tell you what will happen to the child." Jeroboam's wife did this. She set out, went to Shiloh, and came to Ahijah's house. Now Ahijah could not see, his eyes were fixed with age. But Yahweh had told him, "Jeroboam's wife is now on her way to ask you for a prophecy about her son, as he is sick. You will tell her such and such." This is again written down in such an odd way. He, God tells us, okay, she's going to come, even though you can't see her, I'm telling you, and then you tell her such and such. God does not talk that way. When he comes, she will pretend to be some other woman. Yeah, okay. So when Ahijah heard her footsteps at the door, he called, "Come in, wife of Jeroboam. Why pretend to be someone else? I have bad news for you." Oh, go and tell Jeroboam, "Yahweh God of Israel says this: I raised you from the people and made you leader of my people Israel. I tore the kingdom from the house of David and gave it to you. But you have not been like my servant David, who kept my commandments and followed me with all his heart, doing only what I regard as right." Doing only killing someone's husband and then taking that wife because she's beautiful and you like her is right? Okay, these guys already lost me here again. Who wrote this down and why are they lying? You have done more evil than all your predecessors. You have gone and made yourself other gods, idols of cast metal, provoking my anger, and you have turned your back on me. For this I shall bring disaster on the house of Jeroboam. Well, what about Solomon? Didn't he do all that too? How could Jeroboam be worse than Solomon? Well, anyway, who knows? "I shall wipe out every man jack of the family of Jeroboam, feathered or free in Israel. I shall sweep away the house of Jeroboam as a man sweeps dung away till none is left. Those of Jeroboam's family who die in the city, the dogs will eat, and those who die in the open country, the birds of the air will eat, for Yahweh has spoken." Man, you know what? In all of this, God just seems to be continuously just telling stuff like that. But then it doesn't happen anyway. I mean, I said, gosh, what a God. I don't know whose God that is. It ain't mine. Now get up and go home. At the moment your feet enter the town, the child will die. All Israel will mourn for him and bury him, and he alone of Jeroboam's family will have a proper burial, for in him alone of the house of Jeroboam can Yahweh, God of Israel, find anything good. Why would God kill the only good person? Okay, all right. Yahweh will set a king over Israel who will put an end to the house of Jeroboam. Yahweh will make Israel shake till it quivers like a reed in the water. He will uproot Israel from his prosperous land which he gave to their ancestors and scatter them beyond the river for provoking Yahweh to anger by making their sacred poles. He will abandon Israel for the sins which Jeroboam has committed and made Israel commit. Jeroboam's wife rose and left. She arrived at Tirzah, and when she crossed the threshold of the palace, the child was already dead. They buried him, and all Israel mourned for him, just as Yahweh had foretold through his servant Ahijah the prophet. The rest of the history of Jeroboam, what wars he waged, how he governed, this is recorded in the book of the annals of the kings of Israel. Jeroboam's reign lasted 22 years. Then he fell asleep with his ancestors. His son Nadab succeeded him. So there didn't all, oh, he had another son. I thought God said that there wouldn't be anybody. Okay, all right, whatever. This is all so disjointed, has no hands and feet. But it's all right, let's keep reading. Ay, 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 ay. Again, I'm doing this for the reputation of God. God wouldn't do things like that. He would not. If that child wasn't already so ill that there just wasn't any hope for it, okay, God would not on purpose kill a child. That's not, no. Oh, because the dad did blah, blah, blah. No, no, I don't believe that. Nope, not for a moment. That's not our God. That is not our parental God. When people come up with certain things like that, I always ask, so are you a parent? Do you have children? So would you do that to your own child? Right? Well, we're either children of God or we're not. Right? Make up your mind what we are then. Right? So if we are children of God and He's our parental God, our Father in heaven, our Heavenly Father, right? Okay, that's what people say. All right. Then, huh? Are you serious? I would never do that to one of my children, to kill them, because no, you got a bad brother or a sister, right? In this case, you got a father that's not no good, right? Not in my eyes. So I'm gonna kill you. It didn't kill. Why didn't you just go get away? Did away with Jeroboam? I'm just saying, right? So I'm better than God. People trying to tell me that I know better right from wrong than God does. Okay, just asking. I don't know why they wrote this in here like that. What's their purpose? What's the agenda here, right? You got to make the excuses why they have kings. Why are there kings? Right? And how's God still being pulled into all of this? God's just being used here, right? I think by now, probably there are some Levite priests that maybe they're still following all of this. They know, man, we made a bad, big mistake when we put that first king in place. Just saying. Here we go. Now you got the stories going on, and I said, wait a minute. I just read this. Now you're telling me that? The reign of Rehoboam, 931 to 913. Oh, well, he died, or his was over, sooner than Jeroboam's. In Judah, Rehoboam, son of Solomon, became king. He was 41 years old when he came to the throne, and he reigned for 17 years in Jerusalem, the city which Yahweh had chosen out of all the tribes of Israel to give his name a home there. Is that only because the Ark of the Covenant was there? I don't know. His mother's name was Naamah, the Ammonite. He did what is displeasing to Yahweh, arousing his resentment more than his ancestors by all the sins which they had committed. Oh, but I thought David was just the perfect dude. Oh, they had built themselves high places and had set up pillars and sacred poles on every high hill and under every spreading tree. There were even male sacred prostitutes. What? There were even male sacred prostitutes in the country. He copied all the shameful practices of the nations whom Yahweh had disposed for the Israelites. And so it happened that in the 5th year of King Rehoboam, Shishak, king of Egypt, advanced on Jerusalem and carried off all the treasures of the temple of Yahweh and the treasures of the royal palace. He took everything away, including all the golden shields which Solomon had made. To replace those, King Rehoboam made bronze shields, entrusting them to the commanders of the guard who guarded the king's palace gate. Whenever the king went to the temple of Yahweh, the guards would carry them, returning them to the guard room afterwards. No idea what that means. Why is that in here? Couldn't care less, but looks like God's temple got robbed. The rest of the history of Rehoboam, his entire career, is this not recorded in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? I don't know, is it? Why are you asking me? Warfare between Rehoboam and Jeroboam went on throughout the period. When Rehoboam fell asleep with his ancestors, he was buried in the city of David. His son Abijam succeeded him. That's the end of 14. It's a short one. I guess it's a short one because I got to get going. Okay. Oh, dear me, Father, what do you think? What is there to think? It is what it is. What a sad state of affairs. So now the people of Israel are divided. 2 kings. Reminds me of when that happened with the popes, right? Well, there were 3 of them at one point. What a joke. Because God wanted two kings in Israel, or what? Well, according to the people there, that's what happened to God. God says, okay, I'm going to give you that part of Israel, and you can keep that part of Israel. That's what it says in there. And the popes, right? Well, I guess they said, well, God said that's not a good pope, so we're going to put another one, and then we're going to have another one. Yeah, right. Okay, it's all people stuff. That people do all that. A lots of stuff that's out there's just man-made. I find it sad on how little people care for what God actually gives them. I came across a box yesterday that the guys brought home from a project. And I said, oh, wow, this is great. I said, what are these? Oh, this looks like these are like towel hangers, this, that. And they were all wood, which that's what I like, right? And they were in a little bit rough shape. I mean, rough shape that the finish had kind of come off, right? But otherwise, all the pieces were in perfect shape. I said, wow. I said, what about this? Yeah, well, they wanted us to replace everything, because it was old. I said, man, that takes a little bit of sanding and finishing it up again. And I said, no, look brand new, right? No, it got all tossed out, though in good shape, just needed a little bit of care, right, to make them look real good again. And they went out, and that's what the owners wanted of the project, and go and buy everything new. Right? Oh, okay. So, hey, it's cool that we got it because it will be reused here, or it become firewood, right? One or the other. But I'll look at that, and sadly, I could use one towel rack thing that they had there, and I did clean it up and make it look nice again. Oh, it looks brand new. It looks fabulous. Right? And but the rest of them, it's kind of, well, I wouldn't know where to put them either. We don't really need them here. So I'm going to finish them all up really nice. And I bet you I'll find a place. And it just came to my mind. I just came to my mind who I'm going to give those to. That is still working on their house, making it nice, this, that would be perfect. That'll look good there too. Well, anyway, so there you go. See, this was good. I mentioned that anyway. But I find it so sad that good things that just need a little bit of revamping, restoring, would be as perfect as the day that someone else had bought them. But it just gets tossed out and one goes and buys new stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I said, I see things like that, and I have to say, and there's many other things I see around me with people, and I say, don't come and complain to me about not having enough money or stuff or whatever. Because if that's still happening now, according to how this is going in our country, right? What did we just read? Then it's not true. Not really, right? Yes? Okay. I started at the bottom too, way down at the bottom in this country. Yes? Yeah. It seems like reading the Book of Kings, it's very much like that. The people are just continuously throwing the old stuff out that they should be keeping, right? Yeah? The origin of things being thrown out, bringing new things, and it just never seems to work out. Yeah. Well, anyway, what can I say? We're all born with a properly thinking brain. So I thought, yeah. And the few that need a little bit of help with that for one reason or another, okay, most of us know how to do things properly. We do. Done. That's what I believe. Just choose not to. Yes? All right. Well, anyway, so there it is. All these things going on. Oh, I finished up a couple of stars yesterday. I have them downstairs, otherwise I would show them to you. They're made from Johnson grass. Yes, anybody that knows Johnson grass will probably go, "Ah, that's just invasive and hard to get rid of, this and that." Well, here's the thing. Johnson grass is a great grass, and you can actually make flour out of it and bake with it. Yeah, yes, yeah. Well, somebody tells me that this plant's no good. I'm going, that's one of God's plants. Let me go and find out more about it. Also, it's easy to weave with. Right? I made up at my daughter's, but she had a whole field right next to her. Right? It looks pretty too. I like it. Yeah, okay, so there is me, right? There. People throw things out, say that's bad. Now look at them going, I don't think so. That's very pretty, actually. And it's one of God's plants. Let's just keep remembering these kind of things. And I made it grows really tall. And it's quite malleable too. So that's great for making baskets and weaving. And so I made a couple of mats. I was weaving. I had a little loom. I was weaving a couple of little mats with it. Oh, they came out wonderful. And I actually made for my daughter, my youngest one, she actually came up and said, "Hey, Mom, make me one of those sushi roll mats." And I said, "I don't know if that will work, but I could try." So I did. It actually is working. It worked out good. So with my youngest granddaughter, before I left, I went and I have a whole bunch of it. That's dry now. I'm going to use for things in the other room, my work room. And I went with my youngest granddaughter and cut a whole bunch of them. And so then I had some short ones then I prepped them, and then I had some short ones and I made a couple of stars out of them. And I just finished them up yesterday. They came out looking so beautiful. And I'm going to give one to my granddaughter and one to my little niece. Yeah. Well, anyway, but what I want to say with all that is the reason that Johnson grass, right, is now kind of looked at as this weed that's just a nuisance and hard to control and get rid of it. You have to literally use poison, okay, is because people aren't utilizing it anymore. I guarantee you, if people were to know and work with it as I have last year and found that grass, they would go and start collecting it, and soon there wouldn't be enough growing. You see? Do you see what happens out there? When something that no doubt in the past people loved making things with, this and that, and used it even for food. Now that's not needed anymore because we got all this other stuff. And suddenly something that was actually a real blessing in the past now is what? Aha. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, anyway, there it is. What can I say to all that? Hey, human folly. Ugh. Anywho, hopefully it'll get better. I know, and I shared the post. A young friend of mine, wonderful family. Oh my gosh, she's great at making bread. Wonderful. She brought homemade Hawaiian rolls and then a sourdough. She made like this beautiful creation out of sourdough, like flatbread sourdough or something, but it was made in a shield or something. It was just beautiful. And it was so good. Ugh, every little morsel of all that bread was eaten. I made sure none of it was going bad. And she's starting her first baking class with bread. Oh, yes. We've got the next generations, our younger generations out there. Some of us older generations could learn from them. Yes. So it is still happening out there, and I think that more and more will realize that quality is still better than quantity. Yes? Yeah, that's one of our greatest follies right now. That's all I have to share this morning. I got to go. God's love, blessings always. May He protect you, and I will talk to y'all another time.